This is TNT Sports' Adam Summerton, and you're listening to Three Fish on the Shirt.
This is John Sander. You're listening to Three Fish on the Shirt.
Hello, welcome to this week's Three Fish on the Shirt. It's a bumper two-match edition featuring the Easter matches. I'm Dave Dixon, and I'm welcomed again with Steve Risley, other Three Fish member. Hi, Steve. How you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Not bad. Are you?
Not bad. Could have been better. But
Yes.
all things being equal, we're not in a bad spot. We record this literally minutes after the end of the Port Vale game on Bank Holiday Monday, Easter Monday, having just seen Town give away a 2-0 lead, and in the 95th minute, giving the equaliser. So a bit disappointed about that. But overall, looking at the rest of the situation, it's still not bad. But we've got two games to go through, Stephen. To rewind back to Good Friday, turned up at Blundell Park, big game. Probably secondary, we wanted to stuff Holloway, but primarily we wanted to really lay our credentials on the line for a playoff place. And it didn't do much for that, did it?
No, it was, what was it, the worst performance of the season, I would say. I can't remember anything worse than that. And the best crowd.
Yeah.
Well, 7,600.
And everybody seems to say, don't they, we get a decent crowd in the big game and we fluff it. And that's how it feels. I don't know if the data backs that up. I think Bruce on this GTFC day.
It does happen a lot. It does happen a lot, though, doesn't it? When we do fluff the lines up, it's all set up for the big bank holiday game. But that was just ridiculous. 4-0. Didn't see that coming.
No, and you'd hope even with a slightly off-colour performance, a draw, you'd be able to manage, which still would have been not a bad result. But we were just off it in every single bit. There was a bit of a thought from us in the first half that the wind might be playing a part, and we thought, let's see what happens after half time. But nothing had changed, had it? And
no, we said, we'll give it 10 minutes because the wind was going to be with us second half, but we just didn't improve at all. I don't think. Credit to Swindon did play well. And
they looked dynamic, didn't they? They were on it.
They were so much quicker than us. Yeah.
And you have to wonder why we let games pass us by like that at home when we've got everybody behind us, and when all the talk is about the fans can do their bit, and when they do and the team don't, it's really disappointing. Anyway, let's move on to the goals. I mean, first one, it was an attack down the right. Ball was passed in just across the edge of the penalty area, easy as you like, no pressure on the ball, and the guy almost passed it into the net, didn't he?
He passed it in, and I've seen it since. I thought Wright could have maybe done a little bit better, but he did it first time early, didn't he?
Yeah,
caught him on really.
And the defender that was going to him was just too late.
Yeah, it was a good strike.
Yeah,
hit it nice.
But no pressure on the ball. Second goal, ball lumped into the danger area, and we just panicked, don't we, in them situations?
Yeah.
And I don't know what Jordan Wright's wrists were made of, but it was nothing sturdy, was it?
He went down too early as well, didn't he? He was sort of going down, and then he just fumbled the ball, and it's his error, really. He can't.
Easy header then. If it had stayed put, he'd have probably caught it in his midriff, wouldn't he?
If he stood up, if he didn't go down, he'd have probably just hit him and he'd have saved it. But he was already halfway down. So I don't know. It's
and his
not a great
attempt, and his attempt,
game for him.
His attempt at it looked a little pathetic, didn't it? In many ways, the way he kind of flapped at it is difficult, I guess.
Excuse me. Yeah, he just flapped at it, and that's 2-0, wasn't it? That's 2-0. That's how it's thought.
Yeah, and you thought, well, there's no real coming back from this apart from the hope that the wind is having a bigger effect than we can see on the terraces, and it didn't really play out to that. I think Dave Artell tried to pep things up, but it just wasn't happening. We just weren't on it enough. Heads were down, and then when we were pushing out towards the end, the other two goals were just two easy balls across the box, just tapped in almost, weren't they?
I was trying to play it out from the back, which is great, but some of the the way we did it was it's just terrible.
There's one.
There was one point I think where
sorry,
one of our defenders played it out instead of right. Few passes later, it's back in Wright's hands. I think, what's happened there? What's the point in that?
And there was a point in the third goal where, in midfield, Gezachuri, I think, loses out, and his competition to try and get the ball back is just non-existent, and he basically just jogs back and watches Swindon score. Now, whether he could have done anything about it is another matter. But I'll ask you to look at it again. I'll pop it on screen. But it's surprising the lack of effort to chase back, I think. And then the last goal, where he just push in, trying to pressure the ball, probably overdoing it a bit too much. Ball goes right through everyone, and it's an easy finish for their sub, number 42, whatever his name was.
It was. What was that for the fourth goal?
Yeah,
Chishimanga got.
Yeah, they were very similar. The Chishimanga goal was the one where I thought Churi didn't do enough.
Yes, he could have got back. There was nobody on him, was there?
Yeah, and he was just
tapping,
just jogging back. So I was a bit disappointed when I saw that back. But he's early in his career. He's got to get up to speed and realise the ins and outs of the game, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's played a lot. I mean, he's played a lot of football this year.
Yeah,
and
I don't think he's really an option for this season. He wants a break and then a new season. Doesn't he? There's probably one or two others that do. McJanet being one of them.
Yeah, I think 4-0. I think it flattered Swindon a bit, 4-0. But then again, we didn't deserve nothing from the game.
Well, you can't say that Swindon didn't deserve to win, but whether it was a 4-0 or not is another matter, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because they didn't have what do they have? 6 shots on target. So score 4. Did I say something about we didn't have one corner in the game? No, we didn't.
Yeah, that was an interesting stat, an unusual stat as well. At
home,
not one no corners.
No corners and no clear-cut chances.
Yeah.
But going back to Jordan Wright, I thought a couple of times he could have caught the ball second half.
Yeah.
And was it second? Yeah, second half. And he just punched it out. And I'm like, what's he doing?
And more often than not, the other team gets the ball back. It might get the ball away from the goal quicker, but often it ends up coming back, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like Wright, but he's gone down a bit his last few games. I think he's not.
Yeah.
Confidence maybe has gone a little bit.
Yeah. So other results Friday. Performance was pretty much a write-off for us. I couldn't see anything that suggested there was any hope. But until you start studying the results again, and even though we dropped out the playoffs as a result of Colchester's point at home to Crewe, which bizarrely could have easily been a lot worse and been a win because they had 10 men they were playing against. They missed a penalty. So Colchester Crewe went for us. Wimbledon Chesterfield was 0-0. Bromley beat Morecambe to nearly relegate them, so that ought to have been sorted today, which I think we'll come to. Carlisle surprised Port Vale to keep themselves in it. Cheltenham drew with Gillingham. Fleetwood and Barrow drew. We got beat. MK Dons and Newport. I wonder how many nil-nils Newport have had this season. We drew against them 0-0. They've drawn against MK Dons on Friday. Salford were beaten at home surprisingly by Accrington.
Yeah.
Doncaster putting their credentials right on the line and coming good in the nick of time with a 3-0 win at Tranmere, and then Walsall 2-2 against Harrogate. Notts County had drawn on on Thursday night. So the results overall were pretty much not bad for us, were they?
Oh, well, I looked at that, and it was only at the top 7.
There's only Donny
won. Only Donny that won.
Yeah.
All the rest of them drew or lost. Yeah. So it's like amazing how it's gone. How it went for us on that day. Yeah, Donny won 3-0 at Tranmere, didn't it?
Yeah. So it cranked up a lot of importance onto today's game against Port Vale, and it's quite a bit of optimism in the town fans that it'd be so town for us to go over there and knock the team leaders off their perch. And
well, yeah. So we've done it. We've done it once this season.
Well, daft as it is, we did knock them off the perch today, but it could have been so much better. It's hard doing this straight after the match. I was so gutted at the end when the equaliser went in, but it was a decent performance. More of what we need for the end of the season, these last couple of games. But yeah, massively disappointing at the end there. What did you make of it, Steve?
Oh, we just panicked. We just seemed to panic in the last 10 minutes of the games. I don't know, especially when we're winning, and we just the defence was terrible. That first goal, it was us all in the middle, and they're just all trying to get the ball, which is great. But then that guy was on his own, and he did nothing all game.
I don't know what he's been like during the season. I don't know what he's like in the scoring charts. He's 8th in the scoring charts. He's on the same number as Danny Rose, 14 goals this season. But he was absolutely shocking all afternoon. He was terrible. And then he gets given a chance like that. It's really, really disappointing. Onto the positive bits. First half, Charles Vernon would come into the side and was proving a thorn in the side of Port Vale. His shot led to the Danny Rose goal. And a quick assist from David Artell, giving the ball to our players for a throw-in. You know,
yeah, he picked it up pretty quick.
He took the throw-in and we got on the move.
I thought he was going to take the throw-in for a minute.
Yeah, got Vernon into a good position, and then Rose's header. Talk about opportunist.
Yeah, as soon as Vernon shot, he was sort of running in on it, anticipating it, and it was a great header.
Yeah,
and his celebration was even better.
Yeah, ran straight up to the Port Vale fans and stared them down, didn't he?
Well, I don't know what that was like. McJanet, when he scored it, the home game, because he was at Stoke, the rivals.
He was a Stoke junior, wasn't he? No, young.
He went. He did all this, didn't he? Right in front of them.
Yeah, he did.
So,
so that 1-0 going in at half time, I'd have absolutely like the ref to have blown his final whistle at that point. But just coming out in the second half, it got better for Town as Corey went through in the box, ran around across in front of his defender. Defender took him down. Penalty. What do you make of that? There's a pen.
Well, I'll be honest. I lost my picture. I didn't see it, so I can't offer an opinion. Unfortunately, I've not seen it since.
There was no dispute about it. Nobody played hell about it. One of their players went up, I think, and tried to talk the ref round. But
yeah.
I
saw the pen, like.
And with his usual aplomb, he put it away nicely. He's pretty reliable, isn't he, on the penalty taking?
Yeah, I don't know if he's missed any this season.
He missed one at Tranmere.
Right.
All
the ones at Blundell Park, he's
he's not missed any others, and
stuck away. Yeah.
So
and he's nearly up to his best season, isn't he?
He's equalled it today, 14.
Yeah, so he's just needs one more to get past.
It'd be nice for him to get that.
It would be.
In the last couple of games.
2-0 up, flipping flying again, and we deserved it as well. We playing good stuff.
Yeah.
Eastwood in goal was just catching everything.
It was a bit of a revelation, wasn't he? Made some great saves, hung on to the ball, couldn't fault him for either of the goals. No. In fact, he saved that last one, didn't he?
Yes, that was great saves towards the end. I think he was best performance he's had. Best performance from a goalie for Town for ages.
Yeah.
Actually dominated the box.
Yeah, and you're not having kittens every time the ball goes near him. You're thinking, he's going to catch this. That's all right.
I was a lot less nervous today with him in goal. I'm afraid he's a better goalkeeper overall than Wright.
Yeah, so Tolaj put him in, back in with a chance with 12 minutes to go, and then you knew it was going to be a nervy few minutes.
Yeah.
And then that last bit of play, it looked like we were going to be able to clear the ball at the edge of the box, and there was literally seconds left. And I thought it was Hume, but I've since been corrected that it was Barrington who could have cleared it at the edge of the box.
Yeah.
And had he been less panicky, I think he probably would have done. But
yeah,
he didn't. They got the ball across. There was a close range header which Eastwood saved, and then their man Deborah just managed to stick the ball in with unchallenged, really.
I don't know if they were appealing for offside or something at the end there. And I noticed David Artell was having a go at the lineswoman.
Yeah, I think you appeal for anything though in them circumstances.
Well, yeah, but yeah, it was just another 2-0, another 2 points chucked away.
But again, League Two to the rescue.
Yeah,
just go through the results again today. You've got Newport 0, Walsall 0. That's another non-win for what's that? 2 wins in 18 or 19 now for Walsall. That's incredible. And they're still fourth.
They're still fourth.
Just shows how big their lead was early in the season. Accrington and Carlisle drew, which doesn't help Carlisle in the slightest. As Tranmere drew at Barrow 0-0. Chesterfield came back from behind to draw with Bradford 3-3 at home. But I think they're almost out of the picture now. They've got to win both their games and hope everybody else bombs out to do any good, Chesterfield. And Bradford bottle another chance to put pressure on at the top. Crewe lost at home to MK Dons, which, if you think about where we were when Crewe beat us at home 2-0, Crewe were in the thick of the playoff places, and we'd have happily swapped places with them then. We're now 5 points ahead of them, which is sort of unbelievable.
They're out of it now, but they've just got a new manager at MK Dons, isn't it? As well. Paul Warren.
And in the M180 mutual aid scheme, Doncaster did us a big favour today by handing Colchester their backsides on a platter 3-0. And Agent Clifton did his bit for us today.
Clifton scored, and I've just seen that they had Colchester had Edwards sent off.
Yeah, with 10 minutes to go.
He played for Town.
Yeah. He scored against us, didn't he, the other week as well?
Good player.
Gillingham, again, doing us a favour, beating Wimbledon. So that's good. So we've caught up a point on both those two, or made a point on those two. One from in front, one from behind. Harrogate 3, Fleetwood 1. Morecambe confirmed their relegation by getting defeated at home to Salford 3-1. Notts County lost their match in the last minute at home to Cheltenham, so that was a bit of a bonus. They were winning at half time, and in the second half, Cheltenham came back with 2 goals in the last 15 minutes to take that one 2-1. So all these home teams are proving very nervous.
So is that second games running then? It's only Donny that won.
Yeah, I think
in the top 7.
I think it probably is.
Yeah, because just Bradford drew.
Yeah,
Donny won. Yeah, Wimbledon lost.
Port Vale drew.
Walsall. Yeah. County lost. That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, and the Port Vale 2, Grimsby 2, we know about, and a little bit of revenge. Our good old pal who we had a bit of fun with on Twitter last night, Andy Woodman, managed to do us a favour at Swindon by getting his revenge for us, beating Swindon 1-0 today. Yeah. So there was a bit of banter with him on Twitter last night where I think it was Christine Green had put a photo up of Donovan scoring the winner that she's got on her wall at home. So I think it's signed by Kevin. And Andy Woodman says, "Oh, pipe down, not this again."
I see that.
I said, "Don't worry, Andy, your anniversary's in another few weeks' time yet."
A couple of weeks yet.
Yeah. And he went, "Oh, bloody hell, I've got to do it all again." So he's warmed to us, I think, since his. I don't like him.
He has. I think he has. Not whatever mellowed or whatever he's, but he's a bit.
I think it just irked him that one game, didn't it? I think there was some. I wonder if Hursty had said something or something about his team. But.
Probably,
two games running. We've got 1 point from a possible 6, and it's really, really valuable.
I know, but we're both disappointed, aren't we? From the Harrogate game and the this game, it feels like defeats, but they're not. There were points gained.
Yeah, exactly. But, and like I say, we're now, it's back in our hands again. Our goal difference isn't quite there, but we've got that point advantage. And as long as we do better than Colchester and the team below, we're probably going to be okay. It's Chesterfield and Salford. We need to do better than. Pardon you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking at Colchester. Yeah, Colchester got Salford away, haven't they?
Yeah, so they can't both win, can they? So again,
no.
A draw would be ideal. If we can get a win, a draw would be ideal there. Chesterfield, I suppose, are still in with a shout as well. I don't know what their next game looks like. Let's have a look. They are home to Morecambe. We're already down.
They're relegated now.
And then
Morecambe,
they're away at Accrington. So you could look at Chesterfield and say there's a possible 6 points there for them.
Well, I just think we've got to win both games, and we're in the playoffs, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. So Chesterfield can hit 70 points. Salford can hit 71. Colchester can hit 72. And if we win both ours, we'll have 73. So that's the target then, isn't it?
Yeah, I just think if we win Saturday and Colchester don't win, then
yeah. And they can't both win, Colchester and Salford, because they're playing each other, so that helps, doesn't it?
That definitely helps.
That knocks one of them out, and then they've still got to do the other game under pressure, haven't they?
Yeah. So the Wimbledon game, the last game of the season for Town, might not have anything on it.
Yeah, and
potentially.
Carlisle are away at Salford on the last game. Salford are away at Carlisle on the last day of the season. And if they've still got something to play for, that could be interesting as well, couldn't it?
Yeah, because the Carlisle are still there, aren't they? Just.
Yeah, they need to win probably both games, don't they?
Although
a win and a draw would probably do them if Tranmere don't get any more points.
Yeah, that could go to the last game of the season, couldn't
it? We can live in hope, can't we? Just look at Tranmere fixtures. They're at home to Crewe. That's just a bit of a local one. And then you've got Newport away, so that's probably 0-0. So I would think Tranmere will make it out there.
Probably, yeah. But
so I think Carlisle
can't believe we were looking that way near the bottom last season.
Well, we're in almost the exact position as Accrington and Tranmere, aren't we? We were on 45 probably at this stage with a couple of games to go.
Yes, that's all to play for.
So we have still got it all to play for. We'll just sort of whiz through the last couple of games though. So Walsall have got to play Accrington and Crewe. Bradford have to play Doncaster and Fleetwood. Doncaster have to play Bradford and Notts. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Notts have to play Harrogate and Doncaster. We to play. Wimbledon have got Port Vale and us. And Port Vale have got Wimbledon and Gillingham. Crewe have got Tranmere Walsall, but they're probably out of it now. We've got MK Dons and Wimbledon. And then Colchester have got Salford and Barrow, as we've said. Bromley aren't really in it anymore, are they? Salford at Colchester and Carlisle, as we've said. And that's it, I think, for the contenders. So in all those weeks where we were winning 8 on the trot, and things like that, or 8 games, away games on the trot, 4 wins on the trot, and we were sort of stuck in 8th, and then we won 1 game and went up into the playoffs, and then we've had 1 point from 9, and we've still managed to cling on to our playoff place. Absolutely,
because we didn't go anywhere, did we? Winning all them unbeaten run, it's just. And then we lost a game and we went up into position.
And we've got 1 point from 9 and gone in the playoffs and out the playoffs and back in the playoffs again, just on 1 point.
Yeah, so we're highest we can finish now is 5th.
73 we can get. So we can finish 5th.
So we can't.
That's if Wimbledon and Notts don't get more than a win and a draw. So yeah.
I think a win and a draw will be all right. We'll be in the playoffs.
I think so. But
that
also relies on others, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, we're -5 goal difference,
which is almost talking about. Almost forget that now, can't you? Hopefully.
Yeah, just hope that don't kill us.
It'd be annoying if it did, wouldn't it? But if it does, you could argue that it's probably deserved then that we didn't, that others went up above us, because you know those stuffings that we've had. It's not as a result of loads of defeats. It's a result of a few stuffings, and probably more stuffings than most teams would have. So you can pick up your 4-0 at home to Salford, your 4-1 away to Notts, your 3-0 at Barrow, your 3-1 at Swindon, and you know, all those games where we've conceded quite a number of goals.
Yeah. Is there a game on Thursday? No. Just looking at what
They try and keep all the games together now, don't they?
All together.
Oh no, but there is some early games next week. There's Wimbledon, Port Vale is early. Doncaster, Bradford's early. Harrogate and Notts is early.
1 p.m. that one, for some reason.
Yeah, that must be to do with policing and stuff, I think.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I was just thinking, before we play Saturday, Notts, if they lose 69,
Yeah,
so we
could put us right in a spot, couldn't it?
Yeah, we win. That could put us up a. Yeah.
So we have to remain optimistic. It's still all to play for. And if you'd have said to us at the start of the season, we've said it a number of times, would you be happy fighting for a playoff place in 7th with 2 games to go? Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely.
And, in the sort of doldrums of having just conceded to not win two points that we should have really hung on to, then I think we should be happy, even though it feels a bit.
Yeah, should be happier. Should feel happier. And if you just looked at that table now without knowing any results, you just think, oh, 7th.
Yeah.
I'm 67.
Didn't we do well?
Yeah, didn't we do well? It's like if you're 2-0, if like 2-2 today, if we were 2-0 down and we come back to 2-2, we'll be happy. It's bizarre, isn't it, football?
We've beaten every one of the top 5 as well, haven't we? There's only Notts in the top 5 that we haven't beaten.
Yeah, Donny, Port Vale.
Yeah, we've beaten Colchester, we beat Salford. We didn't beat Chesterfield. We didn't beat Crewe. Beat Bromley home and away. Swindon were a bogey team. So there's with winning so many, we've not had many teams do the double over us. Notts is probably only one, is it? In Swindon.
Yeah. I mean, if we finish 7th, we're going to play 4th, aren't we?
Yeah.
In the playoffs,
at the moment would be Walsall.
Looking very.
That'd be a good draw, that, because I think they'll be absolutely on their arse, won't they?
That'd be a cracking draw, that, because they would be, we've beaten them away. So.
And they managed to score in the last minute today against Newport. It was ruled out because it was a Mullin header.
Was it?
Yeah, I'll try and.
A Mullin header with? With a hand.
Yeah, it went like that, and it didn't look like one in the first sort of look, but the second look it did, and the linesman spotted it, so it was actually disallowed. So
he's not just diversion on Mullin. He's not been playing for Wrexham, has he? He's been left out quite a bit. So
would you take him for next season?
Yeah,
you have to take a big argument to not, wouldn't it?
I would take him if he's.
Jordan Davis put a word in for us. What a good club it is and all that.
Yeah, Pearson's been there, hasn't
he? Yeah.
He's captain. And,
so
I'd take him if he's fit. Yeah, he can dive away.
Yeah, get us loads of penalties for Danny Rose to convert. They'd probably take him himself, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he probably would. Yeah. I don't know. He's 30 something now, isn't he? 30.
Yeah, I don't think it'd happen. But
no.
I think he's a home bird now, and he must be in that part of the world. See him going somewhere like Tranmere or something like that, where he's been before.
Might get Bogle back.
I wouldn't want him.
No, I wouldn't want him.
After I've seen the way he terrorises defences now, no, you're all right, thanks.
Yeah, it's good to see a Bickeroo back and on the bench, Luca.
Yeah,
on the bench.
Yeah,
although Bickeroo missed a chance, didn't he?
Yeah, he could have put us 3-1 up, couldn't he? It wasn't the easiest of chances. There was no to aim at, was there?
No, he took one touch too many. I thought
it was the angle. It was the angle from the Tranmere goal, but instead of there being empty, there was a keeper in the way, which didn't help.
Yeah, it was too close in, wasn't he? I think so. He's, so optimistic, still in our hands, and we can still do this.
Yep, and I haven't heard David Artell's after match or anything like that today, so it'll be interesting to hear what he's got to say. We might be able to get comment on it before the end of the show if we can get that. But Yeah,
he'll be disappointed again. I know, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's four points
away
down the drain in games we should have seen out, and
Mm.
you know, if you know you look at the
So-
way we're developing, and this season is a step too far to go up. You can say if we can do the same again next season, but cut out some of those games that we don't see out, cut out some of the Tonkins, and you know, it's not that many more points to be up there challenging for an automatic spot next year, is it? So, you know, if you think we'd got another 4 points from these two last away games, we'd have been on 71 now. That's fourth or fifth, and tidying up some of them other games would have easily been in the top three.
Yeah, we would have been. It's just.
And if you think all that on a threadbare squad, it's been absolutely decimated. Again, if you could have that team of strength, you know, like today you've got Vernon with the ability to bring a big crew on. You know, I think you could be even more optimistic about another season in League Two, even if we don't go up. Yeah, I think from where we are now, I'd be disappointed if we didn't go up, but I wouldn't be overly disappointed at not going up, knowing the season we'd rather see it as a successful season to have even been in with a shout with 2 games to go.
I agree. Yeah, I wouldn't be too disappointed. But we're gonna finish the highest position in the league for 20 years or something. So you take that. And
So
then
there's people who've been
go
supporting
again.
Town since they were sort of for the last 10 years. Have been supporting them from when we started, like at 8-year-old, who've never seen anything like this other than coming from non-league.
Yeah, that's all they've seen. Just League Two, non-league, League Two, non-league, and we've seen it a lot better than this. And honestly, I wouldn't be disappointed. I wouldn't be too disappointed if we didn't go up. But you never know.
And if
I'm looking at Crawley.
Yeah.
They went up last year in the playoffs. They finished 7th, didn't they?
Yeah.
Scraped in, went up, and they looks like they're coming back down again.
Yeah. And look what happened to Carlisle when they came back down.
Yeah.
They've dropped back through, haven't they? Looking most likely now.
They're trying to do a scunny.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I'm thankful that we're heading the direction we're heading in, and you think the squad next season, regardless of which division, but you know, if you said it was League Two for a minute, think about hitting a League Two campaign with a squad with maybe half the level of injuries and twice the amount of availability of strikers.
Absolutely,
You know, we've had one fit striker for probably half the season, haven't we? Out of 5. You know, you've had Sick Note Donovan, you've had Sick Note Pike, who then went on to Eastleigh, and God knows what's happened to him since then, because I think he got injured in his first game there, didn't he? And then you've had sort of Barrington, who's been a bit of a bit part. He's had some good games, but seems he's a young lad learning his trade. Has his moments, but he's a bit lightweight. A big crew has been brilliant when he's been on the pitch, but again, he's another one that we've struggled to keep on the pitch. And we know he's got a medical condition that needs nursing. So, yeah, it's been really tough. You imagine a squad with 3 out of 5 of them fit at any one time, and think about what a massive positivity level that would have for someone like Dave Artell to play with.
That's right. You know, like Vernon today, he was like a new signing, isn't he? And he was excellent. He's such a good player.
Yeah.
Just
And there was that effort on Saturday, the one high spot. I think the Saturday was that one effort he had, wasn't there? Where he hit that shot, and it was still accelerating when it would have hit the net. It just went wide.
That's right. Yeah. The injuries have killed us from getting probably in the playoffs now already. You know what I mean? Or it would have been, but we're still right in there. But we definitely need a full squad next season.
And interestingly, from the fans forum again, Artel said one of the data points next year is looking for players that availability is high for them. You know, they have a high availability rate.
Okay, yeah. Well,
Which
that makes sense. And yeah, and he's he don't like last week he had to go at time, didn't he, for getting cramp.
Yeah.
He said you should be getting cramp, and we'll look into that. Why you're getting cramp? So, which is a bit it's harsh, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah,
He's played there.
Yeah. No, I agree.
He knows his stuff. So it's
so on to
been
the
a good.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, just today's game, there's been positives. we got a point.
Definitely.
Eastwood back in goal, looked really good. Vernon back on the pitch.
Big Boo back. Luca back.
Yeah, looked a strong bench.
Yeah.
I see Cass dropped out, didn't he? And Thompson.
But if we can have them guys in for the next couple of games, everybody, as Dave Artell said throughout, we're going to need everybody. We need everybody to be ready when they come on. So yeah, moving on then to MK Dons on Saturday. It's tough place to go. We drew there last season, if I remember rightly. It was David Artell's first game. We had about 10 minutes with them on the pitch for him. And we managed to draw there this time. I think we've got to go out and just give it everything, haven't we? Because
we've
need
just
the
got
win,
a new manager.
Yeah,
which is we've had that a few times this season, haven't we? But we've just got to go there and do what we can. But there's no reason why we can't go there and get a win. Don't bloody lose a lead.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So, are you confident we can go there and get something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think about the Colchester game and today, and even the Harrogate game to some extent. If we play anything like those games, I think we can get a result there. It's just that seeing it out, isn't it? We could just do with getting that third goal almost, can't we? Putting teams to bed because at 2-0, teams still think if they can get a goal, they're still in it. A funny old number, in it, 2-0.
Yeah, no, I think we can go there and get a result. We're a good team. But for some reason we're better away from home. Seems to be, but we're. I don't think there's no reason why we can't go there and get a win. They've got nothing to play for, have they?
No, and the other saving grace is that we've got the 2 games on Saturday now, so we've got a 5-day turnaround, which is shorter, but not as short as a Saturday to Tuesday turnaround. And then you've got a week off between that and the last game. So hopefully, we can have a bit more clarity after the end of next weekend in a positive way. That we've hopefully not too much to do in the last game.
It's just MK Dons with this new manager bounce, isn't it?
Yeah, but they've had a couple of games with him, won't they? So, what about the opposite of Pack the Park? Just having season ticket holders only going in because when we Pack the Park, we're shit.
You what? Pack the Park?
Oh, when we go, let's pack the park, get behind the lads, and that, we're shit, aren't we? So why don't we say season ticket holders only, no walk-ins, no free tickets away,
no walk-ins,
make the atmosphere really, really crap, and then tell everybody we're away from home and we'll all sit at one end.
Yeah,
and
that was a Swindon. The amount of people that walked out on that game on Swindon just
shocking.
They weren't real fans.
This has been mentioned a few times online and stuff about people walking out. And it's not just we're losing 4-0 thing. When we were winning the other week against Morecambe, I think it was 75 minutes, and you got people getting up and going out. What are you doing? You go to the pictures and then leave just before the cliffhanger finish of the film.
Yeah. Well, it's to beat the traffic, isn't it? The 70,000.
Yeah, we don't live at bloody Old Trafford, do we? And have to sit in the car park for 3 hours to get away. Yeah, it's bizarre. So if you leave early from town games, whether we're winning or losing, let us know what's the score, what's going on.
Yeah, let us know.
Is there a big party on every week we don't know about that we need inviting to?
That's it.
Yeah.
It's a mass exodus. Well, not a mass exodus, but there was a lot of people left that Swindon game.
Yeah.
More than half an hour to go. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, let us know if there's a party somewhere though. And
if there's a party on somewhere we don't know about, let us know. Get us an invite, and we can.
They'll be very good on a fire drill, won't they?
Yeah. Well, I think we might be late to the party if we do because we're not leaving early.
Definitely not.
Yeah, so hopefully we don't suffer from that because that last game of the season could be a massive game. It could be a dead rubber as well. So
that's it. It could be anything, couldn't it?
Yeah,
it could. I think looking at the table, I think Wimbledon they're going to be already guaranteed a playoff place by that game.
Yeah.
Because you can't see all the teams below us.
I think
below
was
them winning.
Colchester. well, we said it. I mean, Salford can only get 71. Colchester can only get 72. We can only get 73. So if Wimbledon would probably need all of us to do all of those games, wouldn't we? And still,
that's it. Yeah, and Wimbledon have got a massive goal difference.
Yeah, but it's not impossible because Salford are playing them. So there's that.
Yeah, so
no, it's not Salford and them, is it? Salford and Chesterfield. Sorry.
Yeah, come the last game of the season, Wimbledon probably got their playoff place secured.
Yeah, probably will.
And then it's just down to us. Maybe we need to get a point.
It's Port Vale they're playing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's they're challenging for the title. So that, if we could be level with points with them come Saturday, wouldn't we?
Yeah, if we win, that's 70 points. Yeah.
If they don't beat Port Vale, we could be either right on their tails. So there's so many ifs and ands now, isn't there? And it really is about just carrying the optimism into the game, even though it doesn't feel like it right now.
Yeah, because Port Vale, they're playing Wimbledon. They'll need to win. What was that? They'll need a point. They need a point to go up, get promoted.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
So
well,
it depends on Walsall, but if they win,
it's nice we were able to beat them though earlier in the season, wasn't it? That was one of our great away days, and I think I saw somebody today saying I'd sooner Grimsby go up with us than some southern team because it's a better day out, isn't it? They come down to Cleethorpes, be good to them. It's a better set of matches, and there is a scenario where there's some real good fixtures in League One next year if we manage to do it. But
might be playing Hull,
Donny, yeah. Scunny. Oh no, not Scunny. No,
not Scunny. No, not yet. Not for another 5 years before we play them.
Yeah, although it would be good to get them back in, wouldn't it?
It would be, yeah. But I've got to get two. They'll have to get 3 promotions, don't they, to get into our League One.
Yeah.
If we win. So yeah.
So
how's this Scunny go?
We'll look forward to those games, then, Steve. We'll look forward to them with bated breath and a sense of optimism that whatever the result, there's certainly a lot of tightness in that top end that other results can help you out, and they have done so far as it is anyway. So MK Dons on Saturday, and we now have got an appointment with our guest this week, Rob Cavallini, who's in the process of writing a history of Grimsby Town Football Club, Volume 1. And this first volume is 1878 to 1910. So after this little break, we'll pick up with Rob. Before we do that, Steve, thanks very much. Anything else from yourself today?
No, just trying to get my head we gained a point today. We didn't lose the game, just
absolutely right.
But no, just looking forward to the next 2 games and getting in these playoffs.
And that's it. You've got to be like that. That's the thing. Positivity.
It's back in our hands now.
Back in our hands.
We've got to keep it in that way.
Yeah. So have a good week, mate, and we'll reconvene next week after the MK Dons game.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Yeah, happy Easter to all our listeners, and I hope you've bore with us this week with us just doing 2 in 1 for the Easter games. I think it's helpful from with all the podcasts going along now that you will ever listen to all of them. That we've got everything wrapped into one for you. So thanks, Steve. We'll pick up with Rob after the break, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, all right, Dave. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Up the Mariners. Up the Mariners.
Yeah, I think when you come so close to win the game, it's always bitterly disappointing. I thought we deserved the win. I thought we were the better team throughout. They came and we know what Port Vale are. They put it on you. They hit Stockley and run off him and what have you, and cross the ball from everywhere. So it was no surprise. I thought we scored, a great goal, and then penalty. The referees bottled out of giving a red card first half that changed the games when Tyes nearly got decapitated. Their first goal's offside. So you end up with 2 big decisions going right against you. However, said that, I thought our underlying performance, I can't change anything like that. But our underlying performance was much better than it was on Friday, and that's the pleasing thing. So you know, it's another point. Sean tells me we're back in the playoffs.
Yep.
So if you'd have said to us with 2 games to go, it's in your hands still, then great. It'd have been better with 3 points today. You know, we've took 4 points off a team that's got the biggest budget in the league. You know, they're celebrating at the end quite rightly. You know, I don't really sound like sour grapes or anything like that, but quite rightly, like it's massive, and it is in their cause, obviously. But it shows how far we've come, that you can come to top of the league with the biggest budget, and they end up celebrating like that. And again, that's not any criticism of Port Vale. I don't want anyone to think that I don't want letters or anything like that. I'm on about that. I'm on about our journey that we're on. That's how far we've come to push a team with all their resources. You know, they've got an unbelievably good manager, a championship manager. They've got players on fortunes. They've got a budget that's the biggest in the league, and we've took 4 points off them, and they're delighted with a point against us. So, yeah, it's disappointing not to get all 3, but I thought the underlying performance was much better. Yeah, look,
positives.
You know, if you'd have said to us, whatever, 2 months ago, there'd be 2 games left and you winning both of you in the playoffs, we'd have taken it. You know, we've had one fit striker for the last 12, 15, 20 games. One fit striker, the whole club. You know, we've even had a game at Crewe when we didn't have one fit striker. It's bonkers that we're still in the position we're in. It's absolutely bonkers that we're still in the position we're in. You know, the character, the application of the lads is phenomenal, and they deserve a huge amount of credit and a huge amount of respect for what they've achieved already this season, regardless of what happens in the next 2 games. You know, we don't know what will happen, crystal ball and all that. But to get to where we've got to with one fit striker for the last, like I say, 12, 15 games is remarkable. Like I say, we've had Chaz back today, started the game for the first time, and Justin's come off the bench. So we're hopeful that you know, them 2 particularly could make a difference in the next 2 games. Yeah, and we move on to MK Dons. Yeah, look, we went to Gillingham when they were top of the league and beat them, and you know, Walsall, I don't know if they were top or second or whatever they were at when we beat them. So we knew before the game we're more than capable of a performance and a result, and unfortunately we've not quite got the 3, but it's another point in the right direction, and you know, you take it and we move on to Saturday.
Similar.
I think you've got to see a much bigger picture than just one game. It's easy to get you know, influenced by one game. It is, and you know, I get judged on 1 games at a time, if you like. But at the same time, like I've just said to you, we've got this far with one fit striker for a large part. We were playing 2 fullbacks in midfield before Christmas. We did that once. Like, that's just bonkers because of the amount of midfielders we had out injured, the amount of strikers we had out injured. And like I said, we've come to a team with a ridiculously big budget and deserve to win the game, and we've not quite managed to do it. So when you put all that context together, when you understand we are in the playoffs, I can't stand here and be too critical of any of the players. I can't stand here and be bitterly disappointed, because that's the journey we've been on and we continue to be on. And we've got 2 games to go, and you know, I hope the fans who were absolutely magnificent today, like magnificent, you know, the away fans are unbelievable. I hope they all buy a ticket for MK, you know, behind the goal, not up in the gods, and make it a real special day for us on Saturday, because we're going to need them. You know, you could see the couple of lads who had cramp, you know, 2 games in 3 or 4 days. You know, we'll rest up now, and they're going to need that little bit of emotion of an unbelievable backing like we've had today down in Milton Keynes, and hopefully we'll pick up 3 points.
Our hands down. 2 tough games.
It's that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You know, I think it's remarkable where we're at. You know, we've said it before. We've got a bottom 3rd budget, and if anybody had said to us, with 2 games to go, if you win them both, you get in the playoffs, I don't think any Grimsby Town fan, player or staff member, would have refused that deal, and that's where we're currently at. So we'll rest up now, patch the players up that need patching up, you know, and formulate a game plan for MK. A new manager again, someone I know well, and hopefully we'll go down there and and bring back 3 points.
Cheers.
Yeah, sounds good.
Nothing
Yeah.
to disagree with him there. I thought he just made all the points that we've just made.
Yeah, pretty much about everything, really.
And we did ours first.
Yeah, we said that first. Not too disappointed. He's sort of disappointed, but not too disappointed because we got a point on top of the league, and yeah, we went. Gone to top of the league and got a point away. You can't rumble with that, can you?
And we're, 20, 30 seconds away from doing the double over him.
Yeah, absolutely. Top of the league team. And we're sitting 7th with 67 points. Yeah. And he was right about everything. Eastwood coming in. Like you said, he changed the goalkeeper. He's made the right call, hasn't he, there?
Yeah, and you could see it after Saturday. He'll probably finish the season as keeper now.
Yes, yeah. We'll probably need to get I don't know what Jordan Wright's contract is, but he's done well for us, right? Shots, he's saved a lot of stops.
It's not the full package.
No, he's not. And his kicking's very erratic, and he's doesn't command his box really. For me, he needs to. He's got better, but he's gone down a bit.
You think though he ought to be able to do that better than Eastwood, wouldn't you? The size of him and that.
But Eastwood, I wasn't that keen on him when he first came here, on loan.
Well, yeah, when they said, we're getting that guy on loan, Eastwood as the keeper, I'm thinking, I didn't dislike him, but I didn't want him as a number one.
No, he didn't look interested when he first came here. I thought he didn't. Maybe that's just how he is, he's a dour Yorkshireman. But I do like him as a keeper today. He's really, really good.
He's quite enthusiastic. He's actually quite a bubbly guy. When we met him before the Crew game, I think it was, when we were up there for a meal. He was in good form.
Yeah. I think he's going to be our number one next year. Yeah. So we'll see how we go. But no, I can't argue anything Artel said there, really.
This is TNT Sports' Adam Summerton, and you're listening to Three Fish on the Shirt.
After this short interlude, we welcome Rob Cavallini. Hi, welcome to this week's Three Fish on the Shirt guest spot. We've got today Rob Cavallini, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Rob, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me on.
You're very welcome, Rob. So, Rob, you've written books such as Play Up Corinthians, Casual Affair, FA Cups in London Part 1, and others. Non-Conformist FC about Dorking Wanderers. And now you're writing a series about Grimsby Town. And I take it from your attire today that you're a Grimsby Town fan as well.
Yes, I've been supporting Grimsby since I was probably 10 years old. My earliest memory has been left outside a pub in Millwall in 1985 by my dad, whilst he went in the pub. He said he could see me from the pub window.
Yeah.
And he gave me a bottle of Coke, and there you go. We lost 1-0.
It's a shame. There was a game in the 80s where we won 6-1. Was it an FA Cup game at Millwall?
We were 1-0. I wasn't there. I think this was about 1981 or 82. My dad was there. Tells the story. We were 1-0 down at half time and then scored 6 in the second half.
Yeah. So you've got a southern sounding accent. So tell us about where you are in the country and how you came to support Grimsby Town.
Well, now I'm living in Manchester these days, not far from Bury Football Club. I grew up in Barnet, which is why I used to watch them as a kid when I couldn't get to Grimsby. And then I moved to South London, had a year in Brazil, and now I'm back.
Wow.
And like I said, I just picked up on various clubs I was involved with, and I wrote books about them.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the book. So you've got Corinthians to start us. What about them? How did that one come about?
I was basically, I've been involved with Corinthian Casuals on and off since 1998. So I did a lot of the media stuff. At a certain point, I ran the club for a few years. And then after that, I moved on to Dorking Wanderers. But I still work for both clubs in keeping the statistics and friendly terms. I pop down to see Dorking every now and again.
Yeah, and they've come to fame now on the web, haven't they? As a with all their videos that go out, and Mark White and the crowd there.
Yeah, I mean, Mark's a friend of mine. He's a very colourful character. I think he's one of those people you either love him or you hate him. But I think every club needs him, because what he does is he just creates this energy, and will feed off of it. And when I started there doing the program, there was 5 people watching them. We used to have to make up the attendance and pretend it was 30, so it wasn't embarrassing. And now, I think on Friday, I think there was about 2,500 there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's an incredible journey.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's one that, I don't know, the algorithm on YouTube, once you've watched something, takes you back to it if you've watched it for any length of time. And what I've noticed is more of their videos, especially their shorts, keep popping back up with me, and so I do follow that a little bit. And yeah, it's certainly a character, Mark, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's always looking. He's a PR magnet. I mean, when I wrote the book, we don't realise it. He managed to get Dorking playing in the Crawley and District League on the front page of the Crawley Observer after 4 weeks of the club existing. When they all walked off the pitch, and you can't write it.
No, and obviously, probably the Mark White story is a story for another day. But it explains now, having found out a little bit about your background, why the clubs that are in the books that you've referred to. See, there's Corinthian Casuals, Dorking, London FA Cup. So you're clearly interested in your football history. There was another one, Oi Gringo. You said you went over to Brazil for a year.
Yeah, that was a funny experience. I ended up travelling around with the hooligans of Corinthians Paulista for a year,
right,
home and away.
Okay.
So I know it's about 45,000 kilometres. I think we travelled on this terrible old bus. That was an interesting experience.
Yeah, but you did you manage to keep out of danger then, or was there plenty of dangerous moments?
Yeah, they looked after me, because when there was certain incidents, they sort of pushed me out of the way and said, "Leave him alone. He's a stupid gringo," basically.
About your range of books you've written, Rob, I'm interested to know, as it's a pastime that requires a lot of time, effort. How did you get into that? What was the trigger to get you involved in writing books?
Well, my dad gave me a pile of programs when I was about 10, and I started researching, and then I met Sid Woodhead, who used to run the club shop, and he used to give me more information. And then when I got involved with clubs, I started writing the program. And I think it's obviously when you're looking for content and then you research, and it's sort of a natural progression. And then I had a breakout between clubs for a year, probably about 2004. And I thought, I'm going to write my first book. And then it became a bit addictive after that.
Yeah, it clearly has, because there's a good range of books. So the clubs you've covered are Grimsby now, just up and coming. You've got the Barnet one, who you went to see because that's where you lived, I guess. You've got Dorking, Corinthians. Was there another one I've missed? Wanderers, 5 times the FA Cup winners. So you, I guess you must write about what you're interested in. Is that kind of the
you come across topics. I mean, some of it is because of the clubs I was involved with. Well, one of my favourite ones is the Islington Corinthians, and that was a complete and utter accident. I met someone whose grandfather played for them, and they went on a round the world tour in 1937-38 season, and they sort of went through Europe into India, around all the British settlement, the Strait settlements, all the British colonies, Hong Kong, into occupied China because the Japanese had invaded, and then back round to Hollywood, up to and across Canada, and they were on the film sets with the stars of the day like David Niven, and they went on opium den raids with the Hong Kong police. They got attacked up the Khyber Pass as part of a elaborate practical joke by the British Army, who then threw them a nice little banquet in a hut. And I think they had their cigars spiked with cocaine by the Sultan of Johore's children. It was incredible, and I had the pictures to go with it, and also they told all these stories via the local newspapers because everywhere that was British had a British newspaper, and you could put it all together, and it was just an absolutely incredible story.
Yeah, so you're writing the Grimsby Town history in five parts. First of all, why 5 parts?
I think because it's a great history, and otherwise, if I do it like I want to do it, it's going to be 1,200 pages, and that's too big for people generally, and it doesn't go through letterboxes. So when because I did Barnet, and when I came back from living in Brazil, I had a couple of months between jobs. I went to Barnet Library every day, and I did it, and it was a similar size project. And then when it broke it down, I'm like, well, why not do it into 5 parts and put as much information as possible rather than just be selective and gloss over things.
So tell it properly, give it the space it deserves. And it is a wide and rich history, even if it's not the big shiny Premier League teams like there are now. And there's a lot of history that some would be very, very jealous of.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, it is a fantastic history, and you can't take anything away from what it is. And Grimsby was like one of the pioneers of football, in professional football.
Yeah.
And they were probably one of the top 20 clubs in the country for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Much longer, and that is also glossed over. I think the previous versions, no disrespect to them, didn't have the access to online search engines that I've had.
That's true. Which is remarkable how they managed.
I've been able to bring it out.
Yeah, which is excellent, and I'm sure town fans will be really interested to read that. So, how long does it take you to write these books? And I guess it must vary depending on what you're actually writing about, the individual stories or bits of history. But sort of talk me through the process. Tell us how long it takes, what sort of things you have to do to create a volume like this.
I would say it probably takes about 40 days hard slog. I mean, I tend to research. I get one massive file and research in order. And then when you find little snippets and reminiscences, maybe 20 years on, you can go back and slot it in at the appropriate time. So I would say like each season takes me a day to research.
Right, okay.
Going for every single match report, checking the previous stats. I've taken the time to get the reserve statistics because I thought, when you got heroes like Pat Glover and, coming through and you hear the goal scoring exploits in the reserves, why not put them in? It's only like a page a season. And it's going to be great for family history as well from that point of view.
Yeah.
Because I think it's been forgotten. So you've got that kind of thing, and that takes me through. And then suddenly I ended up with a file of about 200 pages, I think it's at now, and that's when I go back and then I convert. Then I sit down over the course of a couple of weeks, and then I will write the actual narrative.
Yeah, that sounded a remarkably short length of time. I know if I was doing something like that, it'd be taking a lot longer than that. Is that because
they're long days? It's a lot of hours.
Yeah, a lot of hours. So you're used to the process, I guess, as well, and that must help.
Yeah, I've got experience, and when you got the search engines now, it does help. So you find if you like your bread and butter source, which gives you everything you need, and then the longest part is the bit that when you're going through the national newspapers and trying to pick up things, because you do get different sort of perspectives, which I think is also important when you're doing it, rather than just taking a purely Grimsby based perspective.
As a historian, then, as rather than just a football fan, have you got other sources that you access that are kind of more specialised? Like football historian sort of sources and stuff like that you can get, or are you relying on just the sources that anybody can get hold of?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've got anything special. It's just I've got a way of I understand how the search engines work, so I know how to pick out more detail, and also it's not necessary. I'm looking for the real anecdotes that suddenly just appear in obscure publications like that. I found an amazing piece of when the team travelled to Northwich in an early football league game, and it's the actual. You think Northwich pop across on the train down to Manchester.
Yeah.
Takes a few hours. It's not the end of the world. It was a mammoth exercise in the 1890s to go there, and it gives you all the details. And you think, oh my god, how did they,
Why did they even bother?
Yeah, it's incredible how they did it. And you don't think about it, and then when you see it playing on Christmas Day and then getting back for Boxing Day, I mean, it's phenomenal. And you think the trains are bad now.
Yeah,
they weren't particularly clever then either.
No. And you get players complaining about being tired nowadays, and imagine them doing what these guys were doing.
And you can see it in your away records when you actually just take a statistical look at it. Town were having like almost 100% records at home.
Yeah.
And not far off it in reverse away from home.
Yeah. And there's probably a lot to be said for that. Looking back, and there were some crazy scorelines on things like Christmas Day, Boxing Day results, weren't there? In years gone by as well, and that probably explains it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think like a few of the town players like to drink and stuff like that, and there was definitely some funny results. But I mean, you could see they're playing. Sometimes they were playing 3 games in 3 days.
Yeah.
And I'm not. And this was when you were allowed to actually kick your opponents properly.
Yeah.
and the pitches were awful, and the balls were like bricks.
If you ask the players to play 3 games in 3 weeks now, there's too many fixtures.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be interesting to see these guys meet some of the players today, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think they were a little bit harder in those days.
So, what's your link with the Grimsby area then? So you brought up on your football down south. So, what's your link back to Grimsby, and why Grimsby?
My dad came from Caister, so he's always been a Grimsby fan. He now lives just outside North London.
Yeah,
and commutes for every single home game, despite being 8 years of age.
Wow, that's incredible.
But I do, because he will watch this later, I do blame him for the club's demise, because when he got a season ticket in 2002, we were in the Championship.
So he's the jinx.
So it's all his fault.
I'm sorry, sir. We don't agree with that. We can't blame him for all the ills of the club. But what a commitment! It's great to hear stories like that. I mean, my fellow podcaster Steve, his dad has been to lots of the great games with us, and he's sort of 87 now, 88. Steve will correct me if I got that wrong. And it's only this season he struggled with he had a knee operation and he struggled to get to some of the games. So we're hoping to get him back. But he's sort of been through the ringer at Wrexham and all them sort of games. And the commitment at some. We were telling Dave Moore about that. And he was saying how much he loved to hear the stories about people's dedication and I've been going since the 50s, which I guess your dad must have been.
Yeah, I think he started in 1955, so I think he got the Division 3 North Championship.
Oh, right, that was a good time to start. I have a little parallel. My career as a town fan started at 8-9 years old with the 79-80 champions, and that was the last time we won a championship, a league table at all, finishing top. So yeah, definitely spoiled by the first crew. So what about your early games with town? And what sort of memories have you got of first going to see town?
Well, at the phone box incident at Millwall, that would been 1985. Because we used to do a lot of the games in London, like we had Fulham, and he left me outside at the pub in Fulham as well, and that was in a torrential rainstorm.
I mean, I think there's a historical thing that mums and dads used to leave kids either in the car just outside in the beer garden with a bag of crisps and a bottle of pop.
Yeah.
And while they went to the pub.
Yeah, and I think it's great. It makes me laugh. My sister found out about one of these stories the other day, and she was in shock, like because it was a different age, because it was a very much a case of don't tell your mother. So that's fine. So I did a lot of the London Crystal Palace. I remember seeing a 3-0 victory over there in about 1986-87, which was one of the
40. I remember 40 scoring in that game. Is that right?
Could have been. I think Don O'Riordan scored as well.
Oh, right. Wow, yeah.
But yeah, it was it was a good time. And a lot of people don't realise it at the time. I saw them go through. Obviously, they went down a couple of divisions straight away, went up 2 divisions. The 90s were pretty much our post-war glory days in a lot of respects, and Bells thought maybe we should do better.
I think we all hope and wish for that. So what sort of big games have you got sort of as your favourite matches that you've been to at Towns?
Oh, I think obviously the Bournemouth game at Wembley,
which was
massive,
27 years ago yesterday to the day.
Yes, I was watching all the clips, and it's happy memories, and it was just incredible time, wasn't it?
And old Wembley had something else as well. Old Wembley was more atmospheric than new Wembley, I think.
Yeah, I'm not a great fan of the new Wembley.
Yeah,
but it's the old one, and also it's just a novelty value, because I don't think we could actually believe we actually got there.
No, I remember it really, really clearly, and you wonder where the time's gone. I was just telling somebody yesterday, we announced to our friends in the stadium that my wife was pregnant with our first child, Abby, who's now 26, and you think, oh, where's the time gone? Because it feels like yesterday actually just going to Wembley, and yet the memories are really clear, and I remember that when the teams came out, it's one of very few times that football I've actually felt proper welling up emotion. It literally was a swelling sense of pride that got me, and it's just it was a magical place. And I've been to the new Wembley, and not you don't get the same feel around the place.
No, it's a bit more plastic, isn't it? And there is a place for modern stadiums, and I'd love to see Grimsby get a new stadium, because I think you probably need that. Club needs that to move on to the next level. But but you can't beat the old stadiums, because they were proper places, weren't they?
It's strange, isn't it? Our ground, gets called all sorts of things, from shithole dump, to articles about how it's the best ground in the country for, history, experience, a proper football thing. So there's definitely a Marmite element to it, depending on what your point of view is. But for us, it's home, isn't it? And I think it would be a big wrench leaving Blundell Park. But I think you're right about the development and moving on. But it's not going to happen anytime soon.
No, and let's enjoy it while it's still here.
Yeah, exactly. And so, do you get up to Blundell Park very often?
I get quite a bit more across now. A couple of times a season.
Yeah.
I pick and choose. I do quite a bit of ground hopping as well, because I enjoy going around and seeing it. And obviously, between all the clubs I've been involved with, Dorking asked me to go down occasionally. I have to go and see Corinthian Casual. So I like to spread myself a little bit. But I'm always a Town fan.
So do you keep track of how many grounds you've been to? I suspect it might be quite a lot.
742 yesterday.
How many?
742 yesterday.
742. Never mind the 92 then.
Yeah, I've done the 92. I've got Braintree and Spennymoor left in the National League, North down to the 6th level, and I've done a fair bit around the world, like in Brazil.
Yeah,
been to Argentina.
So I'm assuming you must have got to the Maracanã.
Yeah, I've been to the Maracanã. It's well, again, that's been done up again since I've been there. But I went there in the Libertadores for Flamengo against Corinthians, and it was 60,000.
Yeah.
Fat Ronaldo was playing in those days. Roberto Carlos.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. They lost. That wasn't a good night, but quite memorable.
They're human. Yeah. So 742. That puts a lot of people to shame. There's a chap. He's a broadcaster, Tony Incenzo. Have you seen his
Yeah, I know
exploits?
Tony. Yeah,
he's a big ground hopper, isn't he?
Yeah, I bumped into him a couple of times. But, most memorable that I met him was at the Oval when they recreated the Wanderers against the Royal Engineers for the first FA Cup.
All right, and that's where most people know Corinthians and Wanderers names of clubs.
Yeah,
and probably many people would be surprised to hear they're still going.
Yes, well, yeah. I mean, Corinthian Cas was a bit of a anomaly, and the Wanderers were reformed by a guy about 15 years ago, just for like playing charity games.
Right.
So that was one of those events, and now they've entered leagues. I'm not sure how far they haven't progressed too far at the pyramid, but it's great to just keep the names going, isn't it?
Yeah, but Tony's really a stickler for his collecting his grounds, isn't he? And
and his programs. He turned up late for one of the games, and there was a big crowd, and I had to sort of go and borrow one from one of the players in the dressing room when he was visited Dorking Wanderers a few years back.
Excellent. Yeah. So 742. That's quite a bit of time. Quite a bit of money to do that, but it builds up your whole sort of football journey and your own football history. You could probably write a book about your own exploits at some point.
Yeah, no, it could be quite good fun. I mean, it's funny especially when you're sort of walking down the road, and when I went to Japan to see Corinthians in the FIFA Club World Cup final when they beat Chelsea, which was I enjoyed that. And like you're walking down the road in Japan, and suddenly there's people you haven't seen for ages screaming across the road, "Oi, gringo!"
Yeah. So and what made you go out to Brazil? That was a bit of was that a work thing, or was it just something you fancied doing?
The English Corinthians went there in 1910 on tour,
right?
And they named the team Corinthians Paulista after the English club. So I went over on tour with Corinthian Casuals in 2001, and we played them in the fathers versus son match.
Right, and so is that how you during that trip? Was that how you managed to sort of think about going there for a year? Did that?
What happened was basically I made a lot of friends there on the tour. It was an unbelievable experience. So I kept going back over to see them, and then I started sort of following the team a little bit and enjoying watching them play. Then I got married to a Brazilian.
Wow.
Since divorced, and then I got married to another Brazilian.
Right, okay.
So
you have a tie,
Rob.
You have a tie.
Thing shaped my life.
Yeah. There's definitely a book for you, Rob. You've got to write this book sometime. About
it's quite funny. It's like when my son, before he's now mad about football, before he actually started enjoying it, I'm like, you know that you only exist because of a football team, don't you?
Yeah.
Because if they hadn't gone on tour in 1910, I wouldn't have gone to Brazil. Maybe
he hasn't got 11 middle names by any chance, has he?
No, I kept that down. To be fair,
everything else has a limit. So with the book, you're about to release volume 1 at the end of May. Just tell us how people can get hold of that and what they get if they order early.
So you can order it from my website, which is www.doginfinitenovember.net. And if you order now, you get a couple of pounds off discount, and also you get your name in the back of the book.
Yeah.
And
how much is it, Rob?
It's at the moment it's $17.99. When after the 1st of June, when the subscription closes, and it will go up to $19.99.
So it's either way up. It's excellent value. But yeah, if you're a bit of a football nut and you like having your subscription name in the book, you can get that done by getting it done before the end of the month, which is by the end of next month, is it? Sorry, May.
Yeah. I mean, it's just great if people can help me out by buying it early. It would be really appreciated, because obviously I'm a one-man band, and I don't have that much support behind me. I need to hopefully not lose any money on it.
Great stuff. We'll put the link in the description for people to find out where you can get it, and we appreciate you coming on to tell us all about that book. So,
Thank you, Ben.
is there anything else you wanted to cover on the book front? Is there any other things we need to know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those. I've tried to go into it in a lot more detail than previous versions. I'm trying to bring it to life. I mean, it's not just about Grimsby. I'll try and put it in historical context, because there's some amusing anecdotes about what was happening in Grimsby at various times.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring the players' lives a bit more out, because what people don't realise, and there's a really sad side to it, that they really did get discarded. And what I picked up through by going, because I'm now at about 1930 with the research, the suicide rate was quite high.
Wow.
There's some really sad stories that I don't think they should be remembered, because they were largely just abandoned. And also the fan culture, because people think that, like, years ago, you see the old Victorian dramas on TV and no one had any money and it was all poverty, and I'm sure it was a tough life in those days.
Yeah.
But Grimsby fans travelled in numbers.
Yeah. So that hasn't changed
from day one. And it's like, I mean, you think, like, we played Portsmouth one year in the FA Cup and it went to a replay in midweek, and there's still 200 people went down, which you don't expect in 1900.
But no, because it's the journey's not like it is now. There's not get down the M23, is it? And
no, it's not an easy trip. And also, did they have the money? I mean, it was tough times, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, sure was. And there's a few parallels to now, although it is a bit easier to get there. That what was it, Tuesday night, not doing that great in the middle of the season at Tranmere, and there's 400 or 500 town fans there. It's remains to this day, doesn't it?
And we were taking 3,000 or 4,000 for big games.
Yeah.
Over a long distance in 1900. So
wow. Again, but people probably don't realise that. I think it's great that you're able to bring those things to life and highlight those bits about the players and what happens to the players in the background in their real lives, because people do see players as kind of a commodity and forget that they're, it's their job, it's their working people. And we've discovered it through our interviews with the likes of Steve Saunders, Mark Lever, and the like, that there are people in the background that are on a rotating sort of worrying about their job every couple of years, and maybe having to move and lift and shift or whatever. And there's not a massive amount of stability, and people forget that when they miss kick a ball or give a goal away or miss a penalty. In getting it in context is important.
Yeah, I mean, there's this thing, and I mean, today they don't know the born in a lot of respects, because I mean, the treatment of they received from the directors. I mean, the way they dismantled the team that finished third in 1897 was shocking.
Yeah.
And they were just treated like cattle.
Yeah. If you want to know how that went, you need to buy the book. So yeah, great link in there, Rob. That's what we need. Get the hook out. we'll
definitely.
Hopefully get a few people to.
Another amazing story is the aftermath of the Stoke game in the 1902, when there was a riot. And
is that one where the Charabanc got bricked?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
But I've included the full first-hand account of the journalist that was hiding underneath the coat when it was all going on.
Oh wow!
And when you actually read it, you can say, "Oh yeah, it got bricked." It's much more than that.
Right.
It's an unbelievable story.
Again, get the book and you can read the whole account, expertly crafted by Rob. So Rob, what about the modern day Mariners then? What do you make of state of the club and the position we're in at the moment?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, I'm not a big fantasy fan, as I don't think many people are. I think the club has run into the ground. I think the new ownership model is definitely improving things. I think we are. It strikes me as we're in a bit of a 1988-89 moment without the cup run, where we're just on that edge and we're just threatening to be half decent, but not quite convinced ourselves yet.
Yeah, I think that.
I think the journey is a lot better than the destination as well. I think people need to look at that, having run clubs as well. And if we don't make the playoffs, we don't go up, which may be asking a bit much now because of the injury situation. I think we're putting ourselves into a strong position for an excellent season next year. And if we go up when we're ready, and we can actually stay up, because you are bumping into big boys when you get into League One nowadays, aren't you?
And the days of us, the day of us thinking we could just drop in the Championship and continue on like we used to are probably long gone. Just talking to Kieran, in the days we had Kieran Maguire on, and he was telling us that it's something like 400 grand a week losses in the divisions above, and £6 million losses over a season. Only one team in the Premier League actually didn't lose money, and that was West Ham. That's because they've got a stadium paid for by everybody else. So there's a massive gulf now, isn't there, between League Two and even League One and above now.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable, and you just got to find your own way and create your own business model. I mean, I know the Dorking model. It's in the Wrexham model. There's various different ways you go, but you've got to. I think there needs to be that energy going within the club to make things happen. And you've got. I mean, I personally think it's probably needs to maybe look to America for investment.
Yeah, and I think
if you want to push it on to a Championship level.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want to lose your soul, and you don't know what you get. The grass is not always greener.
No.
On the other side, is it?
No. And there are examples both ways, aren't there? There's the Wrexham model, which is doing okay at the moment, but there's a point there where if someone loses interest, what does that look like? A certain person. And there's also the Carlisle experience where they spent telephone numbers, and they're struggling to stay up even after their reasonable run of form of late. There's no guarantees in football. All right, money does make it a little bit easier, as Wrexham, Stockport will show, but there's not many now succeeding on a shoestring, certainly at the level above.
And you got to understand the game. You got to know what you're doing, and you can spend as much money as you want, but if people don't respond, you're not going to get results. And people forget there's 20 teams, 24 teams in the league. Someone has to finish bottom, so you can have 24 billionaire owners, but it doesn't make any difference. Someone is going to finish bottom.
Yeah, the Premier League's a great example of that, isn't it? You've got money thrown everywhere, and even that, it's very much now who can stay up from the Championship promotees, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think, I mean, when you're looking at a club like our size, part of the joy is going up and down.
Yeah, we've done it more.
We want to go down in a way that we want to go down solvently rather than in a mess.
Yeah.
So you can bounce back quickly, and that's where I think get a lot of satisfaction out of it, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, when we spoke to Kieran, we were talking about it, and he was saying that what you'll get with these owners is slow and steady improvement, but there'll still be a Grimsby Town in 10 years' time. You can't say that about other clubs that are on the go at the minute. They're very much on the line, existential wise.
Yeah, and I've seen so many clubs boom and bust over the years. It's at various levels, and you can see them fly past you. You can also see them just explode and disappear just as quick.
And you're close to one that went through a spell like that, who are having a big game this weekend. Is it 8,000 in Bury?
Yeah, they had nearly 9,000. I saw that. Yeah, I popped down there on Boxing Day, and they had 6,000, which was quite remarkable.
Yeah.
They seem to be getting it together now. That I personally, their first couple of years, there was some very strange politics going on between the trust and the Phoenix Club, and their supporters didn't quite embrace non-league football.
Right.
And we're quite out of order. They've got about 50 people actually banned for life from Bury.
Right.
they've managed to acquire in the last couple of years. So, but they now seem to be embracing it. And again, they're going to have a fantastic journey because, I mean, obviously they're a massive club. I mean, I think they're probably only 2 promotions away from where they would have been had they not had their problems. And if they'd have actually carried on naturally, they would have got relegated twice because of the finances.
Yeah.
So I think they'll probably find their natural level and be a National League club fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But they're tough leagues. If you go and annoy everybody, like AFC Wimbledon annoyed everyone in the Isthmian League, and I witnessed quite a bit of it. They got stuck there for 4 years because it wasn't that they weren't the best team or one of the best teams. It's just everyone tried harder, so they drew 20 games.
Yeah, so it's
and there's one promotion.
Everyone's cup final.
Exactly, and they got bogged down because of that. And suddenly, when they got in the National League, they flew for it because they're just another club. Similar size, though.
But there are not many teams fly through the National League, and certainly one's going down. Town getting out at the first attempt is by no means an amazing feat in its own right, isn't it? Because teams
is. Not many teams that have done it. I mean, Lincoln did it in their first year. Darlington did it, didn't they?
Yeah, Scunthorpe got out in one go as well.
Yes,
but the wrong way.
Yeah. Well, that was great when Dorking beat him because I thought, well, we've Scunthorpe found their level then, haven't they? But
yeah,
so I'm hoping both teams go up this season because then obviously I'll go and have a bit of hospitality and I'll wear my Grimsby tie in the Scunthorpe boardroom.
It's nice that they're on the up again. I think right. We've said this on the podcast a few times with a few different guests. There's no rivalry without rivals, so it'd be great to see them coming back up and get some Scunthorpe games in the EFL going again. Would be a good thing.
I think both clubs need each other. Every club needs its rival.
Yeah,
and it is quite funny when you see them go down and suffer for a couple of years, but essentially,
enough's
you
enough.
want to be playing them, don't you? There's no point if they're not knocking on your door. And also, you find a lot of the time local clubs, one does better, so the other one tries harder, then the other one tries harder again, and it sort of creates a momentum for both clubs.
Yeah.
They need each other.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. So, any other big sort of memorable games? Then you talked about Wembley. What about any memorable ones at Blundell Park you've managed to see?
One of my favourites, the Arsenal game when we won. We lost 4-3.
Yeah, God, that was a cold day. I remember that well.
Yeah, that was an incredible game. I watched that back on YouTube the other day, and it was. You can't imagine how bad the pitch was, so considering what it's
quite hard.
I know it's got problems at the moment, but it's green.
Yeah.
So I love that. I mean, I went to the West Ham game. Just trying to think what other games I went to. Go back a long time now.
Yeah. No, there's plenty in there. Just go back to that Arsenal game. Real oddity, if you look back at that, is the away fans are in the pontoon.
Yeah, because they swapped them around in those days, didn't they? I remember that because it only lasted about 2 seasons.
Yeah, they didn't do it for very long, and they swapped it back again. Ironically, the best noise generation is in the Osmond and that closed corner. Keep the noise is kept in and sort of channeled down the pitch. At the pontoon end now, especially with the corners got, there's not that kind of bowl effect, and we're a bit lost at that end now, unfortunately.
Also, the lack of standing. I mean, I remember I was at the Exeter game. I remember being in the pontoon for that. That might have been my first ever afternoon in the pontoon.
Right.
And I just remember it being absolutely rammed. I would have been about probably 14 or 15 at the time.
Yeah.
I remember watching the Wrexham game, the 5-1 from the Findus stand.
Yeah. That was the Birtles hat-trick game.
Yeah. That was a
masterclass. That one. That was a great day. That was a proper end of season. We didn't have too much to worry about. I think we were already nearly there, weren't we, in terms of promotion? The Exeter game,
the Exeter had run away with it, hadn't they?
Yeah, and I just topped it off that last game.
Yeah, and also the other one, springs to mind from that season. We came up to the Carlisle game. I think it was that probably was the moment that we realised that we could. Keith Alexander scored in the last minute.
Yeah, you can't beat a last-minute goal, can you?
No.
Big
No,
Keith.
that was
God
the funny thing. When Keith Alexander signed for Town, because I knew him well from Barnet.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. He was sort of the third choice striker at Barnet, but still quite effective.
Yeah.
But was a bit of a laughing stock because he was a bit gangly and
yeah,
slow at times.
He was brilliant for
and
us.
The
though.
kids in school were just laughing at me. Oh no, you've signed Keith Alexander. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But he did well for us, didn't he, sir?
Yeah, he's such an entertaining player and a lovely man as well. And he's still missed. Bless him. It was sad that he was taken too early. But Keith Alexander scored some fantastic goals as well. I mean, as big and gangly he was, with some great in the air. And I remember him scoring like a curler into the top corner against York at home in a 3-0 win. And one of my goals that sticks out more than any is, and there is some grainy footage of this on YouTube, Scunthorpe away on Boxing Day. I think we were something like 2-0 down. And we got back into it at 2-1. And Keith chases a ball down that is getting played back to the Scunthorpe keeper. The Scunthorpe keeper and defender can't decide who's going to go for the ball, so they both go for it and fall over in a big heap. And Keith is still on the edge of the box with an empty net, and like I say, he's at the edge of the box. He decides to chip it and skim it off the underside of the bar. And we thought he'd missed at first. It was just like such a great moment. It was like 2 or 3 minutes to go or something. And Scunny managed to get a penalty after that and miss. Paul Rees, the shortest goalie we've had for a long time, saved a penalty after that. So coming away from that on a Boxing Day was like a win, a draw that was like a win. And
Paul Rees, I loved him. I remember going to Cambridge and we won 1-0.
Yeah.
When they were at their peak.
Oh, and John! It was like the John Beck era.
Yeah, it was, and everyone's running to going up, and they literally. I think we got out of our half ones.
Yeah.
I think Tony Rees scored, and then it was like the Alamo times 1,000.
Yeah.
And somehow Paul Rees kept everything out.
Yeah.
And then they gave the man of the match to somebody else, one of the home players, which I think
absolutely
was the biggest joke ever. But I think that was absolutely probably the best Grimsby goalkeeping performance I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, there's been some classic ones over the years. From my era, when I first started watching, Nigel Batch was quite the keeper in that championship season, and this championship Division 3 championship season, and the seasons after that, the 2-3 seasons after that, where we were knocking on the door going up to the Division 1 as it was at the time, where he was pulling off crazy saves every week, and we've had some interesting characters in goal, and Mark Lever was saying Paul Rees, absolutely crackers, which is probably one of the prerequisites for being a goalkeeper, as I understand it.
Yeah, I think so.
So, Rob, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to maybe meeting up sometime if you get up to Blundell or across to Blundell Park. And next, give us a shout. Keep in touch. And if you want to come back on and talk to us about how you're getting on with the volumes as you work through, and keep us posted on when we can expect to see them over the next few years, that'd be great. And you're always welcome to come back. So,
thank you very much.
Thanks for joining me this morning.
And thank you for the support.
No, you're very welcome.